This is a special episode of Immunology Podcast, Immunology 2025 on the ground. Hey everyone, this is Dr. Jason Goldsmith and Dr. Brenda Rad. Welcome back to the Immunology Podcast, where we have conversations with immunologists. Immunology Podcast is brought to you by STEMCELL Technologies, a global biotechnology company supporting life science research and fostering communication, collaboration, and science. If you enjoy the Immunology Podcast, rate us and leave a review. We're always looking for feedback, how the podcast can be improved, and for suggestions on guests. Today, we're bringing you a very special episode of the podcast straight from Immunology 2025 meeting, which took place from May 3rd through 7th in Honolulu, Hawaii. It was a great meeting, and we have had the pleasure of meeting and discussing science with researchers from all over the world. Today, we'll bring you some of these conversations as we hear from delegates about their thoughts on the meeting and research presented throughout. But before we jump into things,
whether you're looking to attend an immunology conference this year or to expand your network, make the most out of your experience by downloading our collection of tools to help you prepare for your next event. STEMCELL Technologies downloadable checklists and guides include recommendations on how to get ready before attending conferences, tips for networking, best practices to your LinkedIn profile, and more. Download the conference toolkit at www.stemcell.com/conference-toolkit.
all right, let's jump into it here. As mentioned, Brenda and I attended Immunology 2025 and had a great time learning about the latest research in the field. We also had the opportunity to chat with attendees and learn about the research. So without further ado, let's introduce some of the attendees that we had the privilege of speaking with throughout the meeting.
Hi, my name is Lara Buhr and I'm a PhD student at the Research Center Borstel in Germany. We are mostly interested in tuberculosis disease, and I'm especially interested in sex differences in tuberculosis disease, focusing on host pathogen interactions, and in my special case, focusing on hormonal interactions between the pathogen and the host cell, the macrophage.
Hi, my name is Megan Tompkins, and I'm a graduate student at the University of Michigan. I'm currently studying neuroimmune communication within the lung, and I'm really interested in this specific neuronal receptor that we have a knockout of. And I'm looking at an LPS exposure model and kind of seeing how this receptor is really important in immune communication.
Hi, my name is Macy Proctor-Roser, and I'm a graduate student at the University of Kansas. Yeah, so I study how the gene PTPN22 encodes for a protein tyrosine phosphatase that helps regulate B cell function and how that can help us clear chronic virus infection.
Any virus in particular you guys are going after these days?
So I use LCMV clone 13 as my model. I'm really more focused on the immune response side of things rather than the viral side of things. But others in my lab study coronaviruses. I've also done work with central nervous system infecting viruses.
Hi, my name is Sadie, and I'm an undergrad student in Chicago, Illinois. I'm writing a paper on TP53 and NLRP3 and how it affects Southeast Asian Americans and the underrepresentation in genetic testing to get these genes reclassified.
Hi, my name is Kristen Anderson, and I'm an assistant professor at the University of Virginia. So I started my lab at the University of Virginia about 2 years ago, and we are active and working on lots of things related to immunotherapy and engineering T cells to overcome immunosuppressive obstacles in the tumor microenvironment.
Hi, my name is Mayasa Budargam, and I'm a postdoc at the University of Pennsylvania. So my research currently is focused on studying neutrophil development and function. So I basically study how they mature, what are the signaling pathways that are regulating the maturation process, and also their functionality aspect.
Hi, my name is Raffaella Ghittoni, and I'm an associate professor teaching at the University of Southern California. I teach mostly undergraduate students. I teach courses that introduce students to immunology. It's courses that usually students take it during their second, third, or fourth year. I also, as an educator or as a teaching faculty, we teach other courses that not necessarily are as specific as immunology, some intro bio courses, and I teach them mostly for first, second year student.
You think immunology has gotten easier or harder to teach over the last decade with all the changes that are happening?
Yeah, I think it's harder in the sense that there's more material for sure. And the new discovery, especially when it comes to therapy or identification of new cell types or new approaches, or it increase incredibly the amount of material that we want to share with students. But you still need to give the background, or the overview and the basic information. So yes, that's one of the biggest challenge. And on the other hand, there are more approaches, educational, okay, like using images, videos, and AI, for education that simplifies sometimes or makes students more comfortable retaining the information.
Hi, my name is Daniela Castillo Perez, and I'm a research assistant at Purdue University. For my master's degree, I've been working on aluminum adjuvants and trying to elucidate the role of the NLRP2 inflammasome in their adjuvanticity.
Hi, my name is Amy Tang, and I'm a graduate student at Northwestern University on the Chicago campus. I'm working on Tregs, specifically sort of niche, trying to target FOXP3 using a small molecule degrader in the context of like boosting anti-tumor immunity.
Hi, my name is Rohini Manikam. I am a recently defended 6th-year graduate student at the Uniformed Services University in Bethesda, Maryland. So I studied mechanisms of macrophage migration and phagocytosis with the lens of an understudied protein called factor 4. So this protein had been incredibly understudied, and I found that this protein is what regulates dynamic edge behavior in macrophages and regulates membrane ruffling. And without it, that ultimately leads to dysfunctional macrophage migration and phagocytosis, specifically complement and integrin-based phagocytosis.
Wow, there are definitely some interesting research areas here. We'd love to dive a bit deeper on future episodes. We are big fans of the AI meeting, and we're back here for the 3rd time this year. We wanted to hear why delegates chose to come for the meeting and what they were hoping to gain, and these are some of their answers.
Hi, it's Lara. Of course, it's always super interesting getting in touch with scientists from all over the world, and the IIA is a super opportunity to do so as it's super large. And of course, it was also interesting seeing Hawaii.
Have you ever been to the islands before?
No, definitely not, and I probably never will, because it's like 23 hours flight to here. So I was super interested in meeting all the scientists here. Yeah.
Hi, it's Megan. This is my first year at AAI, and I'm very excited to be here. I've seen so many talks. It's fantastic. And the exhibit hall is great and very also overwhelming. I'm learning a lot as a second-year grad student, meeting a lot of amazing people, and I hope to just continue learning more about different career options that are out there, because I'm really interested in science communication and potentially policy. So I'm really enjoying my time here at AAI. This is the biggest conference I've ever been to as a grad student, and it's really exciting to be able to present my work.
Hi, it's Macy. So I am a 2nd year in my program, and I actually take my qualifying exam next week. So it's been wonderful. I've been sitting in sessions, learning all about B cells, as well as different immune regulation. I'm here to network. I was able to present a poster, so focusing on talking to a broad audience about my science and just building those interpersonal connections that are going to help me advance in my career.
Hi, it's Kristen. So AAI was actually the very first conference I ever came to as a graduate student. So it has a special place in my heart, and I love to come as often as I can. This year in particular, because it's Hawaii, so who doesn't want to come to AAI in Hawaii? I also really love coming and meeting individuals who are graduate students who are really excited about cancer immunology. I love watching excellent talks and then approaching speakers after and saying, if you ever want to do a postdoc in immunotherapy, here's my contact information. And I've met some amazing people who, even if they don't come and do research with my group, it's really fun to follow their careers.
Hi, it's Mayasa. So, in addition to being a great immunology conference, I also won the Public Policy Fellowship, or actually was awarded the Public Policy Fellowship. I was one of 10 that were chosen from all the US. And I am here to actually initiate that fellowship, meet my cohort, and get to learn more about public policy. For the Public Policy Fellowship through AAI, you get to learn while you're doing your research. You get to learn every month. There's like a session where they teach you about the importance of public policy, how to be a good advocate, how to learn about policy reform, policy making, and how to be a better communicator as a scientist and explain the importance of what you do and why research funding is important for biomedical research, especially. And so, the main reason that I wanted to apply for this fellowship is because we have to think outside what we do in the lab and on our benches. Your science does not end by you getting great results. You have to make sure that the people know what you're doing, that the community understands the importance of what you're doing, and that Congress people actually also know the importance of what you're doing so that they can always allocate the funding for you. So, actually, at the end of the fellowship, we have Capitol Hill Day. So, we will be going to DC March 2026, and we will be talking to the Congress representatives and potentially also their assistants. But in the meantime, we are also told that if at any point we are in DC and there's AAI people who can help us, we can also plan a trip to make sure that whenever we get the chance to be on the Hill, that we are communicating about the importance of our science to Congress people.
Hi, it's Rafaela. Definitely for me as an educator, I comes to participate to the educational sections. So AAI has an educational committee and a teaching interest group, which is members or colleagues that focus on educations. And one of the best things is get together, reconnect every year and listen what is new. Today I heard very interesting talk, a lot of them on artificial intelligence and how to improve, educations or use it in a good way, okay? Or other interesting talks of, like gamifications of courses, which are very interesting.
And hi, it's Daniela. Well, I always wanted to attend immunology conferences, and this is the conference to attend. So I think that I was really excited to be part of this.
Hi, it's Amy. I think one of the biggest things was that it was in Hawaii, so we really wanted to come this year. But last year I was able to go since the conference is in Chicago, but my work wasn't completed to a point where I could present it yet. So I'm very excited to present my work for the first time at AI in the form of a poster presentation this year. I think it's such a great meeting to go to because you're able to meet so many great immunologists from all over. Especially, I think this year, since I'm close to graduation, it's been a great networking opportunity. So, getting to also talk to the exhibitors and vendors, I was able to talk to one of them about like different avenues for careers. Since I'm interested in looking like not just for postdoc or scientist position, but also maybe BD, like business development or venture capitalism. So it's cool to see everyone here.
Hi, it's Rohini. It's my first time at AAI. I typically go to ACB because we look at things with a cytoskeleton lens and other smaller cytoskeleton-based conferences. So this was extremely valuable in broadening my horizons to other really awesome immunology-based topics, and especially coming off of recently defending. It's been really valuable to broaden the topics that I'm being exposed to and think about my next steps and my research interests.
Definitely some great responses. Jason, what were you hoping to gain from the meeting?
Well, scientifically, I was hoping to look at some of the immune crosstalk that we've kind of been talking about lately. It's been kind of a new interest of mine, so I was checking that out, and that was a major one for me. How about you, Brenda?
I have to say, I love coming to AI because it was always something unexpected. I tried to go not only to the TISA meetings, but TISA talks, but something a little bit outside of my area of expertise, just to get new insights, inspiration. So I think that's really what I like the most about this meeting. So we've had some more conversations with delegates in just a bit, but before we get to that,
explore scientific resources for immunology research at the STEMCELL Technologies Immunology Learning Center. Choose from different research areas and find expert interviews, technical tips, educational webinars, instructional videos, and much more. Visit stemcell.com/immunology-research.
All right, getting back to it. The research at the meeting also did not disappoint. There were many interesting talks and so many posters. Let's take a listen to what some of the attendees had to say about the research, the coolest research they saw, and the things that got their attention.
Hi, it's Lara. Well, I actually really liked the talk from Mrs. Blish, which was about cell communications. But I also liked the Back to School seminar series because it really sometimes you just lose the track of some really basic research interests, and it was super nice at the beginning to have like a fresh up on some really important topics here.
Hi, it's Megan. So I didn't come into grad school thinking I would do neuroimmunology, and then my PI is like, I really want to go into this field, and so going to a few of the neuroimmune talks has been really interesting. And then my personal interest also really lies in autoimmunity. So I've been really enjoying the autoimmune talks. So I think being able to hop around and go to a bunch of different types of talks has been really exciting.
Hi, it's Macy. So actually, my lab mate, Anam Shank, she just presented her major symposia talk on how PTPN22 helps regulate type 1 interferon response during virus infection. So that was super awesome to see and help support her during this.
Very nice. Yeah, I was there at the talk.
Oh,
Very
nice.
good.
Did you like it?
Yeah,
she did awesome. I would definitely say seeing the vendors, meeting students from other schools that are also working on things like I do. I also attended the stem cell event last night, which was great to continue those professional development and connection building. But overall, it's been a fabulous experience. This is my first AAI, so definitely one for the books.
Hi, it's Kristen. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the SITSI AAI joint session. This one is a highlight for me every year because the speakers there cover a broad range of new insights about what's going on in the field, hot topics, things that have, come hot off the presses. So I really like attending that session and being part of that group. One of my students is here this year, and she actually went to the AAI Career Roundtables event, and she loved it. So big shout out to the organizers who do all the early career scientist development programming. I've also had the opportunity to go to several of the tumor microenvironment and cancer immunology sessions, and there's some really exciting work coming out about metabolism. So T-cell metabolism in the tumor microenvironment, myeloid cell metabolism, and how it can shape the tumor microenvironment. And I think these are all really exciting and important areas we need to be paying attention to, because for immunotherapy to work, we have to address all of the off signals in a lot of different tumors. I think one of my favorite parts of this meeting is the networking. There are so many opportunities for early career folks to meet with really established faculty who have had, their whole careers being really involved in AAI, and the opportunity to just casually meet with them and hear about what they're working on. Even if it's, a coffee or just in the hallway to say hi, sometimes the things I learn about that are not on the big screen are actually more helpful for my thought process, my thinking, my creativity than some of the stuff I see in the formal presentations. So take the opportunity to network.
Hi, it's Mayasa. The conference has been great, and as a neutrophil person, I feel like there have been really great talks about this, beautiful posters on neutrophil research, and I got to learn a lot about things that I don't work on, including the microbiome and how that is regulated during the first week post-birth for kids and children. And I think that there's a lot of different topics that we don't get to think about that this particular conference is a great opportunity to learn more on. I was at a biotech career networking session. It's Careers in Biotech this morning, and that was super helpful. There was a panel of different people from industry who shared their experience and told people who are currently in academia what is the best way to potentially transition to a non-academic path. So that was a great session.
Hi, it's Rafaela. Definitely for me as an educator, I comes to participate to the educational sections. So AAI has an educational committee and a teaching interest group, which is members or colleagues that focus on educations. And one of the best things is get together, reconnect every year and listen what is new. Today I heard very interesting talk, a lot of them on artificial intelligence and how to improve, educations or use it in a good way, okay? Or other interesting talks of, like gamifications of courses, which are very interesting. Definitely, I recommend every colleagues or to join. And actually, I recommend to students also to sign for as a student, start to be part of a group or be part of this community. Okay, for different reasons, because you get updated with the new research in the field, but also because for profession works, future PhD or postdocs. So it's actually always valuable to connect and regularly, okay, with members of the group.
Hi, it's Daniela. It's difficult to choose one, but I would say the one from Dr. Pauli Pulendran, Systems Vaccinology. And yeah, I would say that from the talks, that's my favorite one. And then I also attended many workshops led by industry companies. So I think that after 4 days, I can say that I have already gained a lot. Like I've been networking with a lot of people from industry, academia, and I think that that has been really nice because you are out of the lab and it's a different setting. You get to know people that it's work in different fields, and although it's not your field, you still have some feedback from other scientists. So I think that that's really valuable.
Hi, it's Amy. So I think for talks, given that I work on Tregs, obviously anything out of Rudansky's lab was really great to listen to, especially the Major Symposium and the degradation genetic model they did. I something that he said that always sticks with me is like, unless you have the tool to probe something, like you got to make the tool first. I think it's just been such a fun time to meet everyone and then see everyone's posters and talks, and then all of the great events have just been really wonderful to attend.
Hi, it's Rohini. Yeah, there's been so much cool research. I specifically do a lot of microscopy, so naturally I gravitate towards the really cool microscopy work that my university doesn't have the tools for. And so there was this really cool talk I went to earlier today from the Fowl Lab who did intravital imaging with a spatiotemporal component for T cells and looked at how T cells are able to enter into specific perivascular areas and then deeper into the tissues. And paired with that relocalization of T cells, they recycle and shed certain integrins. So there's this dynamic re-expression and surface expression of T cell integrins with really beautiful microscopy work. I attended a few different career-based workshops with the AI program that was really helpful. They brought on really interesting people onto their panels from venture capital, from biotech, from even postdocs in industry, and it was very valuable to hear their different experiences. And not only did we get to hear from them, there was actually a lot of time to meet them and ask personal questions, and I was able to get connected with people that I never thought I'd be able to interface with, both through AI directly and then also outside in these industry positions.
Definitely great answers. Personally, my favorite talk. Oh, it's really hard to tell. Of course, I like the T-Rex talks. This nice discussion from the lab of Alexander Rudensky is showing the importance of the production of this proenkephalin peptide by Tregs associated with neurons that perceive pain, and how this modulates pain perception. Again, Tregs doing weird things. Yesterday was really nice. The talk by we have the plenary talk talking about the RAG, the evolution of RAG the RAG genes and recombination, and how that has gone through, fish all the way to mammalians, and it's just amazing to see since the 1976, one of the first kind of recombination of the IgG locus was found, and then all the way to our understanding of current understanding of RAG. So this was a talk from David Schatz. Was really really cool. I did not know all of this about RAG recombinases.
Well, my favorite talk was also a proencephalin talk with Ann Anderson from Harvard, and she was talking about a non-canonical opioid receptor, the opioid growth factor receptor, or zeta opioid receptor, which is a target of proencephalin, and how its activation leads to immunosuppression.
Oh.
Okay. And worse cancer outcomes, and blocking it with opioid antagonists helps in cancer like melanoma.
Interesting.
Which relates to my PhD work research when I really immediately started nerding out. It was great. So I also really enjoyed getting to see everyone at our live show. In case you missed it, we talked about lessons learned from 100 conversations with immunologists, and you can catch that episode on any podcast app. We're also fortunate to explore a bit outside of the conference center. I'm personally doing most of that with this trip here in the next few days, but I'm trying to get some beach time in, and I may book a massage because I'm old.
There you go. Necessary, those old muscles. I mean, you've been to Hawaii many times, so
that is fair. I'm being from the West Coast. I've been a lot, so I'm trying to just get the greatest hits back in.
Yeah.
But let's hear from what the other attendees have had to say on this.
Hi, it's Lara. So definitely visiting the gala tonight for some nice drinks, and also tomorrow later on visiting some spots on the island, so Pearl Harbor or something like this. So we'll see. Enjoy this nice weather a little bit.
Hi, it's Megan. So I did plan to stay here a bit 3 days after, because why not? It's Hawaii. And I'm going on a snorkeling trip to see the sea turtles, and I'm going to go hike on Diamond Head. And maybe I will rent a car because I'm turning 25 on the Thursdays, so I won't have to pay those extra fees. So I can officially rent a car. So that'll be fun.
Hi, it's Macy. Yeah, so this is my first time in Hawaii. It's been amazing. So I originally am from Missouri, and I definitely didn't see the ocean until now, and it's been fabulous. The weather's amazing. It's beautiful. It's such a vibrant atmosphere here. So definitely a nice change from now Kansas, but I still love Kansas.
Hi, it's Mayasa. Oh, Hawaii is beautiful. I mean, I have curly hair, so I have to keep taking care of it so it doesn't frizz the whole time. But it's been wonderful. I mean, it's such a beautiful island, and I'm going to Maui tomorrow, so I can get to explore another island that's less urbanized and get to actually see more, hopefully Hawaiian preserved lands, and potentially also get to see the culture there as well. And for all the listeners, if you're planning anything to be done, including hikes and trails that are very beautiful, make sure that you reserve in advance, because going to the Diamond Head hike, I did not reserve in advance, and they were fully booked. So there's a cap on how many people can enter these reservations. So just plan in advance.
Hi, it's Rafaela. I mean, coming from LA or living in LA, this is not my first time, because we are, relatively closer compared to other cities in US or other countries, and but it's always very nice to come here, and weather has been great, and food has been awesome, so delicious, and so yeah, wonderful.
Hi, it's Daniela. Well, I'm from Costa Rica, and I think that it just feels like home with the weather. Yeah, like biodiversity. I think that it's awesome. And yeah, I would recommend anyone to come here and visit Hawaii.
Hi, it's Amy. definitely been leaving a little early to go to the beach, and so been enjoying the nice weather. Chicago was very chilly when I left, so I am living it up for the summer weather in Hawaii every day. So I'm gonna be staying till the end of the week. Thankfully, my PI was okay with me having a little extra vacation time, and then still making some plans. So some tentative plans to go skydiving right now, which I didn't know was a thing, but once someone in my department brought it up, and I was like, I'm already here, why not? But also scuba diving and snorkeling as well. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit of like a adrenaline junkie.
Hi, it's Rohini. It's actually my second time in Hawaii. 2 years ago, I did a family vacation to Hawaii. We had never done that beach vacation thing growing up, so we came to Oahu and Maui. And so I got my fix there. 2 years ago, I took my parents skydiving in Oahu. Both of them jumped. I was very, very proud of them. And so I'm still on that high of my last Hawaii trip. So I'm unfortunately going straight back, but I've been able to fit in going to the beach just for the sunset and dipping my toes into the water every single day after the conference. So I just love this place.
It really is such an amazing place to have the conference, such beautiful surroundings. The weather has been very nice and warm and tropical. Um, so personally, I was here a few days earlier before the conference, and I went to the other parts of the island, to the North Shore, to the east. So that was also really nice. We went up a little bit hiking up to have a view of the ocean. So I really liked overall the whole island, getting to see the beach life, and so I'm still looking forward to a couple of beach afternoons before we leave. So I would say just snorkeling. That's what I'm going for. I'm really looking forward to.
We'll also be looking forward to seeing you at next year's meeting at Immunology 2026.
Yeah, Boston, baby.
Almost hometown court for me.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward. So it was so nice that so many people came here and joined the episode of today's and took the time to chat. People met us on the hallways and at the event. That was so nice. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining, for talking to us. We really enjoyed this meeting, and we're hoping to see you guys all next year. We'll be there firm, live with that live coverage. And it's going to be so much fun.
It will be. All right. That brings us to the end of our series of Immunology 2025 episodes. We had a great time at the meeting and hope that you enjoyed hearing from some of the attendees. Don't forget to check out the episodes that we released during the meeting and subscribe to our newsletter at www.immunologypodcast.com to get the show notes, including an episode summary and links to all of the interview and roundup papers. You can also reach out to us on X at @immunopodcast, Blue Sky at immunologypodcast.com, or via email info@immunologypodcast.com with feedback or suggest guests. See you next time.